Hi, I'm Todd Henderson. Today I want to show you how to install the Ionic SE soft roll-up tonneau cover on this 2016 Tacoma 5-foot bed. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to seal off our bulkhead. Now we've got some gaps on either side that we need to seal off, and we also are going to run a weather guard seal across the top as well. So we're going to take our provided alcohol prep pads. We're going to take and run that along the sides. And then across the top of the inside of the bulkhead. Next, we're going to locate our weather guard seal. Now that's going to be an L-shaped seal, and it's got some 3M red tape on the bottom side of it. The first piece that's going to go on there, we're going to have wedged down in between the bulkhead and the bed cap. We want that to go all the way up to the edge of the bed cap and bring it all the way up to the inside edge of the bulkhead. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to cut that. That should be right at about 1.5 inches. Go ahead and peel away the 3M tape. All right, and we're going to fit that down inside like so. We're going to want to make sure that a little bit of that seal protrudes out from the corner of that bulkhead so that our rail seal can smash against that and make a good contact. Do that on both sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and move these deck rail cleats out of the way. I actually don't really have to, but I just find it a little bit easier to work around them. And I'm also going to take the end cap out of the end of the deck rail channel. Find our aluminum rectangular piece that has the square hole cut out of it in one of these angled brackets. I'm also going to find one of our carriage bolts that's got the square head underneath. I'm going to run that carriage bolt through that aluminum bracket, run it through the long oval slot from the back side. I'm going to find one of our serrated flange nuts, kind of has little teeth on there, and I'm going to start threading it onto that bolt. Once that's in place, I'm going to slide that rectangular piece into the deck rail system. I'm just going to set it in place for right now. I'm going to install the other one over here on this side. Next, I'm going to find my passenger side rail. Now, I'm going to notice that the Velcro is going to be to the outside of the vehicle. I'm also going to have a rubber seal that goes along the inside. That's going to go up against the bed cap. The back side is also going to have a big cutout at the end of the rail. We're going to put that up against the bed cap. We're going to slide it all the way up to the bulkhead where it's contacting the bulkhead and that seal that we just installed. Next, we're going to slide our brackets to where the small oval hole in the bracket comes up to the small round hole that's actually in the rail. We'll raise that up. And once it's lined up, now we're going to find some of our provided hardware. This is going to be our medium length bolt. You got 3 size bolts in our kit. This is the medium size bolt. It's going to go down through the top of the rail. Then I've got a flat washer, a lock washer, and then a regular nut. This is not a serrated flange nut. This is just a regular nut. I'm just going to put it together just hand tight for right now. I'm going to move our front bracket to the next hole in line. Not to the hole all the way to the front, but the next hole in line. Now this is for the 5-foot bed. If this was a 6-foot bed, I would actually have 3 brackets per side. And again, I'm going to use our medium length bolt, flat washer, lock washer, and standard nut. And hand tight put that into place. Now as I'm holding this rail in place, I'm going to take note and make sure the top of this seal that goes in between our rail and our bed cap is up to the very top of the bed cap. I want to make sure it's pushed all the way up to where it contacts the seal up at the front. All right, now from inside the bed, while I'm holding this in place, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up down below with the serrated flange nut. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch socket, tighten that down. Now with these bolts that are holding the rail to the brackets, I'm going to use a 1/2 inch wrench up at the top to hold the bolt still, and then use the 1/2 inch socket down below to tighten it up. Once that's tightened up, we can go ahead and finish tightening down the bracket to the deck rail system. Now we'll repeat the same steps on the opposite side. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the rest of our weather guard seal along our bulkhead. Now what we're going to do is since it's an L shape, the back side of the L needs to face towards the tailgate, and the tape will be on top of the bulkhead itself. We're going to bring it all the way over to this seal and run it along the inside edge of the top of the bed cap. Okay, so now I've got the tarp. The tarp is completely attached to the head rail, the crossbars, and the tail rail. So I want to make sure we get the orientation of this correct. You'll see a little vinyl flap coming off of one end, and it's got some clips. This is the part that faces towards the bulkhead. So what I'm going to do, this is the left side, this is the right side. I'm going to go ahead and find our tension adjustment system. Now this is, if you notice on this piece right here, it says L for left. It's going to go on the left side. This little piece of the block here is going to fit right inside this channel. If you look inside this channel, we've also got a little square-headed nut that slides back and forth in there. So we're going to set that inside the channel and line up this hole to the threaded hole in the nut. We're going to find our longest bolt in our kit, run that through a washer, run that through our tension adjustment piece, and then get that started into that square nut. Once that's started in the square nut, we want that to be able to slide back and forth, and we're going to push it kind of towards this over here. And we're going to move this piece to where it's straight up and down like so. We're going to do that on this side as well. Now that we've got our tension adjustment in place, we're going to go ahead and set our head rail and tarp up at the bulkhead. Now as we do that, this vinyl flap, we're going to want to have it tucked down to where it tucks underneath the head rail against the bulkhead. We want to make sure that our head rail is in between the side rails. Once that's in place, we're going to go ahead and slide our tension adjusters over to the rail. The bottom side of that tension adjuster should slide underneath the side rail. Once that's in place, we're going to rotate this portion up to the side rail, and we should have the hole in this line up to the hole in the side rail. If it's a little far back from that, we're going to want to push it up to where those holes line up. Once those holes line up, we're now going to take our shortest bolt in our kit. We're going to run that through. Once we run that through our tension adjuster on the side rail, we're going to take our flat washer, followed by a standard nut. We're going to put that on there at first finger tight, and then we're going to take a 1/2 inch wrench. We're going to hold the bolt in place up at the top, use our 1/2 inch socket, and tighten it down from the bottom. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten up our tension adjuster to the head rail as well. Same 1/2 inch ratchet and socket. Repeat that on the opposite side as well. All right, so now what we've got is a seal that goes along the back side of the rail. Wipe down this inside portion with rubbing alcohol. We're also, while we got the rubbing alcohol out, we're going to use the same prep pad, and we're going to wipe down the inside of the tailgate so we can install our tailgate seal. We're going to do this on both sides as well. Now we're going to find our tailgate seal. When you look at the tailgate seal, if you look at the side profile, it looks kind of like an ice cream cone. So what we're going to do, that ice cream portion of it needs to be facing to the inside of the bed. We're just going to follow this curvature here and then down to this rubber bumper that stops the tailgate. We're going to bring it all the way down to the bottom of the tailgate, or the bottom of the bed where the tailgate meets. Now this particular truck has a bed rug, so we're not going to have to run the tailgate seal between the tailgate and the bed underneath the bottom side of the bed. Otherwise, you would just follow that line as well. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. Now there's different ways you can install the bed light. What I did is I adhered Velcro to the back side of it so I could stick it to the bed rug. Now when I turn it on, you can tell I've already adhered the light to the bottom side of the deck rail. Wherever you adhere that light, you want to wipe it down with rubbing alcohol and then peel away the 3M tape and set it in place. Another great place to put it is on the bottom side of the rail. Because I've got a bunch of screws to worry about, I went ahead and installed it here on the Tacoma. But you can put it wherever you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and roll the cover down to the tailgate. This is a great time that once you get it down to the tailgate, make sure that it closes properly. You may have to adjust the tension. That's perfectly normal. Once you lock it down, go ahead and set your Velcro in place. And make sure everything closes with the tailgate. The seal, fabric seal on the inside of the tailgate should close inside the bed of the truck with the tailgate. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts. We're here to help you out.